Our first guest tonight is a Golden Globe-nominated actor you know from Atonement and the X-Men franchise. He stars in M. Night Shyamalan's new film Glass, which is in theaters and IMAX Friday. Let's take a look.
I know this seems very unfair to you, but you are stuck in this room.
Guy, the beast fought, he's right there. You can't beat the beast. You don't think you can beat the beast, does he? Huh? Beast's like, You don't think he can beat the beast, does he?
Please welcome back to the show, James McAvoy, everyone. Welcome back.
The guys keep playing until I sit down.
Yeah, they would play forever.
Yeah, I could play until they starve.
Yeah, we had someone come once who never sat down. It was really rough. It was like a hostage situation. Yeah. So congratulations on the film. That was just one of, I believe, 20 different personalities your character has in this film.
Yeah,
So-
no, we had 23 in the original script, and then in the editing process, Night decided to cut 3 of them. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I was all for leave no personality behind, but they ditched 3 of them.
I have to imagine you can't approach this the way you approach other roles in terms of how you rehearse.
No. Yeah, you know, typically on a movie, even if it's a big movie, you get 1 week's rehearsal, so trying to rehearse 20 characters was onerous, you know. But actually, there was just a lot of rehearsing in the mirror. Which I've not done since I was about 21, but there was a lot of just kind of going like, all right, that's how she looks, and like, that's how he looks, and then he's like this. And it was kind of fun. I felt like a kid again a little bit.
That I would also imagine, on top of having to keep all those personalities straight, obviously this is an M. Night movie. They're kind of famous for their twists and turns, where you also plot-wise have to keep a lot of things straight. Were you just sort of in an utter confusion cloud for the whole time? Yeah.
To be honest, yeah.
Yeah.
On the first movie, Split, I got the script and I read it, I loved it and all that, and you know, ultimately we revealed that it was linked to the world of Unbreakable and Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson and all that. I missed this completely. And and their movie that they made 19 years ago, Unbreakable, and so we're like 2 weeks in, and I'm sitting there thinking like, Jesus, you know, like M. Night Shyamalan really talks about Unbreakable a lot, you know, and I'm like, no, dude, I'm not here going like, oh, I was in Atonement. You know, back on Narnia. You know, I'm like, and then, but one day he got really overt with it, and it kind of, the penny dropped, and I was like, oh, I get it. And I styled it out, and I pretended that I knew it all along.
Yeah. It turns out this is why it's very helpful when sequels are just the name of the first movie with a 2 after it.
Oh, exactly.
Then you don't miss it. You get to work with 2 incredibly iconic co-stars in Bruce Willis and Sam Jackson. What was that like?
You know, those guys, I've worked with movie stars and people that are my contemporaries, maybe slightly older, slightly younger. It's cool, you know, but working with those guys, Bruce was a movie star and a big TV star when I was a kid. I remember watching Moonlighting with him and Sybil Shepherd, and I loved him in that, and he made me laugh, he excited me, he like terrified me, it was amazing. And then Sam, more in my teens, just watching him being so dexterous as an actor. He's been an example, like, for as long as I can remember even thinking about acting. Getting to work with him was incredible. I remember we did this big scene, big long pink room, where we do like a community therapy session, and chair there, we've got Bruce, and in a chair there, we've got Sam, and a big long walk to my empty chair in the middle. I'm like, that's like weird for me. And I'm walking down to it, and I sit down, and I'm like, all right, Sam. I'm like, all right, Bruce. And then he says, and then the director says, action. I'm like, this is, you know, it's a kind of, it's a pinch yourself moment, you know.
And you also got to do a fair amount of press with Sam. Did you learn anything about doing, promoting a film from Sam?
I mean, I saw examples of what I might be able to do when I've got the balls that he's got. But, you know, you got to be, that guy does not suffer fools, and which is a positive quality, but he gets any kind of question that is in any way not thought out properly, he just drops the F-bomb, and he is like, what are you talking about? What? And calls them out so hard, and it's the funniest thing. I did an interview back in the UK with Lorraine Kelly, who's a brilliant host, But it just didn't work out with Sam and her. And I'm sitting there going, and I've been on her show back home like many, 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 many times. She's a lovely, lovely lady. And I'm sitting there going like, oh no, this is going real bad. This is going real, and I can't get in between them because once he gets going, there's no stopping him.
Oh, yeah, I think that's probably, yeah.
He's amazing. I love the guy, and I want to, you know, I hope when I'm his age, I hope when I'm a year from now, I'm like him.
Yeah, it's really fun to, again, earned confidence, but confidence must be a delight to go through life with. I also, I mean, for real, you shot in an abandoned hospital. That was your actual set, yes?
Yeah, they abandoned it because it was terrifying.
Wow. It was too scary to be a hospital.
It was too scary. It was a mental hospital, and it was making the patients be mental. So, yeah, it was a pretty scary little joint, and it was freezing, and they turned the heating off. And we filmed it in, I think, November in Pennsylvania, where it's freezing, and I'm running about with no shoes on and no top on, and I'm like, Knight, why did you write this for me right now? I do like my nipples. I don't really want to have them sewn back on by some incredible foreign surgeon that I have to fly to and see. So, yeah, it was pretty gnarly.